Hey everybody, welcome to Elseworlds Exchange. I'm Sal.
And I'm Joel.
We're going to talk about the best bat suits on screen. What's it called? The bat suit from Pattinson is screen tested. Here it is. Is there a gun in his emblem? I don't want to talk about it.
No, me neither. I think we've talked about this enough on Twitter.
Exactly. I will say we're going to talk about the best bat suits that you can see on screen in movies. I don't want to get into like TV shows. Like, what about the Birds of Prey suit from the Bat Show from CW? What about Titans? Like, no, I don't want to get into that.
He wore one in Gotham by the end, didn't he? I'm not just fever dreaming that.
He wore that like awful earless thing for a minute. It's just awful.
Yeah.
But again, there's a judgment here that you can have against a movie suit versus a TV suit.
Right.
So we're just going to focus on the movie suit. I think you can judge a little more harshly.
Indeed.
You can hold them to a higher standard, I should say.
When they don't have can only have a TV budget.
Exactly. There was, of course, the 40s and I want to say 30s, but Batman was invented in 37. So I think it was the 40s, but it was like the serial of Batman where it was like black and white, and they had this like cloth outfit with floppy ears. Didn't work for me.
Was certainly representative of the time, though, that Batman was being drawn.
Right, and that's the thing. On screen, this is pretty friggin' accurate. And for the first go of it, for them to go like, hey, we're doing Batman on screen for the first time, here he is. Belt, boots, trunks, gloves, bat emblem on the chest, all the cowl, ears, gray and black, plus a car. You nailed it. Like, first try.
Not either. Different, though.
True. Yeah. Different. Yeah, this is, of course, this will be the trend. And I want to say it's going to really inform how they go from here. Where they're like, okay, they deviated from the logo literally in day one.
The first try.
We're going to do that forever.
because we're Hollywood, and because we need to do it different. We need to get our hands in there and feel like we've done something. We just can't adapt someone else's work. We need to be the auteurs and the geniuses here, and we're spending prop department money. Of course we're going to do it differently.
Exactly. Well, how will they know that I did it?
Exactly.
How will I have my stamp on it, my little signature on that?
Naturally. Let's talk, too, you had mentioned previously, the actor's physique in this thing. Again, very 50s leading man, very out of shape, in shape guy. Oh, am I sucking in, or am I just very barely? I don't know.
I don't know. But you know what? Like, it was a good idea. They're like, okay, we got to go with like a leading man. So we're going to give him, we're going to squeeze this guy into the suit. Honestly, I remember the only time whenever I noticed an issue was with the cowl. It's just he has a very round face.
Yeah, he does. And as a round-faced man myself.
Same. I just don't wear bat cowls. But like,
no.
And really it is my only complaint. My only major complaint, besides the bat logo, a little too literal.
Yeah.
It's more really an actual bat.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the only complaints I have, it's from the neck up.
I agree.
It's just he's a little too round. They can't quite get the eye holes right.
No, very, very Halloween party city. I can't see.
Yeah,
but I do think he can move in this, which is something that will be a problem later when we talk about Batman suits.
Right.
I feel like this guy can actually move.
It breathes at the expense of him having not laughable ears. Those ears are just a little too silly.
Pipe cleaners, man. Pipe cleaners are your friend.
Put something in there. You need some kind of rigidity there. But yeah, so on a scale of comic to movie, this is leaning towards comic. It is the comic suit and the most like valiant try they could possibly have given it. Like this is the best they could do for the budget and for the imagination and the material.
Yeah, they crawled so other bat suits could run.
Exactly, or fly.
Or swing through the night with a lightning bolt.
Naturally. So then you get into the 60s, and of course we got to talk about the West suit. This suit has a je ne sais quoi, a charm, if you will, about it.
It speaks to a time and a place when Batman wore velour and everything was more fabulous.
There are so many people who this is Batman for them.
My dad.
Every generation, anyone over 50 is like, this is who Batman is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether they read the comics or not, that was a cultural touchstone. This is arguably, Batman wouldn't be the most recognizable superhero without this show.
It's true.
And this suit, while today we can scrutinize it, make fun of it, and talk about how silly it is, it was the Batsuit for everyone.
Absolutely.
And the things that it gets right are numerous and storied. You get the blue, gray, yellow combo. You have the gloves with the flares on the side.
Yeah,
you have the logo and a utility belt.
Mm-hmm,
You have the trunks, gloves, boots. You have it all. Plus yellow disc behind the bat symbol.
Nice touch. Something we will gain and lose many times.
It's true. This is a good sign of things to come. It is not without its flaws. It's a little shiny.
Sure is. Again, it's Technicolor is what it is.
Right. By the way, it does pop. Like on screen and in person, it is a gorgeous suit.
Totally.
Whether it works for a crime fighter or an urban ninja,
not so much.
But it pops, man.
This guy ain't stealthing through the darkness, that's for sure.
It's funny though. It does. But I will ding it on a couple of notes. One, the thing that my kid brain could not wrap around. Why they like etched in like a nose brim and eyebrows, and it's one of those things where it's like I remember as a kid when I would see things that were like made specifically for me, where I'm like, why did you make this thing, and then do one thing totally wrong?
Yeah, why did you make it weird?
Like, why did you have to go, like, it's almost there, and they go, well, we can't make it perfect or else they'll expect it every time, so we gotta fuck it up somehow. Miscast somebody, make the suit have a weird thing. Like, remember that awful G.I. Joe movie? Not the second one, which is also awful, but the first one, where they were like, let's give Snake Eyes lips. Like,
yes.
It looks like Snake Eyes, it's amazing, and he has lips.
Why?
What are you doing?
I'm Hollywood. I gotta do a thing. I gotta make it slightly different so I can own this. The etching too on the mask is interesting, and the more we talk about it, it's very unique to the Adam West suit, and you only see it in
Thank
this.
God.
It's so funny, but they're like, well, he's a comic book, right? He's from the page. We need to make him look inked, you know.
Yeah, we gotta ink him up. We gotta give him some shadows, some depth.
Which you pointed out to me too. The Pattinson suit also seems to actually have like a little extra definition that I didn't even notice until you pointed it out.
It's really, but it's odd that they would take ideas from this suit, but not too odd because this suit will inform everyone. One, short ears. Obviously, they learned their lesson, and I'm sure people who worked on this show in some way knew about or worked on the old show where they're like, it's too floppy, just make him cardboard and glue him to the side of his head.
Yeah,
don't worry about it. But short ears, that's the thing they're gonna keep going, or at least that's the thing they're going to use in the future. When molded rubber becomes a thing, then they're like, oh, tall ears again. But short ears are a thing. The fact that like you got the redundant logo when Batman is a utility belt, it's just a utility belt.
Yeah,
for the most part. With the West suit, you got the logo on the buckle.
Yes, that also happens a lot where Batman is so hardcore into branding, he needs to put his logo on everything.
Well, not just him. Like, remember the Superman Returns suit where they put the S logo on the buckle and you're like,
right,
what are you doing? We don't need constant reaffirmation of the brand. That being said,
I'm Superman, though.
This belt has a more subtle logo on it. Like, the pouches are pouches and the buckle is kind of like understated, like it's shiny and it's more like it's engraved. By the way, Joel's looking at the pictures that we're talking about on his phone. He's not just checking his Twitter.
No, I actually do have the pictures in front. I have a whole thing of them all together, a whole mosaic, so I can be better in the conversation.
It's so we could actually have a conversation about what we're looking at. Whereas,
yes,
I'm looking at him, you're looking at him. Joel's just trying to remember him as best he can. No,
absolutely.
Another thing they're going to carry over from the serials into here. How about a dude who's not really very much in shape?
Yeah, kind of interesting that we hired a TV actor for it. We hired him for his chops, not for his physicality. Not to say, West wouldn't throw the odd punch in there.
Naturally. This suit, there's a lot going for it. There's a lot I don't want to see anywhere else.
Indeed.
Also, of course, they redesigned the Bat logo. Again, looks really good. I like it.
which would become what is it, standard across all Batman 60 branding. You see it in everything. You see it on the DVD collection.
Right.
You
That's
see it
their
all over the place.
logo.
It's exactly, it's theirs. They own it. You only see it here.
That's right. By the way, I should remind our viewers, if you're just joining us live, this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you are watching the show live, make a comment, ask a question, throw it into the super chats. We will ask it here on the show, like these fine people. We got Flywheel Shyster says, at work, we'll watch later. Thank you very much, man.
Hey.
Catch you on the repeat. CPT Sketch 13, the designer did the Batman Noel suit. That would be better. I think he's referring to the idea that the Pattinson suit may be inspired by the Bermejo suit from Joker and Batman Damned and Batman Noel.
Which is a pretty unique suit in and of itself.
It is. It's very much its own unique suit. When you see that, you're like, I know what that is. Very armored.
Yeah.
It's funny. You could have gotten like Arkham vibes from it, but short ears and Bermejo style, it's its own thing.
I like that the cape looks leathery. I like that the cape looks like it's just made of leather.
Yes. I love the idea of a leathery cape. It makes good sound. It has good weight, good look, catches light well. That's a smart idea. Eat That Horse says, I kind of wish the films would show some real cojones and use the blue-gray suit. Personally, I thought the armor looked goofy in Arkham Knight, and still does now, but I get that people like it.
Don't we all?
Right. I mean, West uses the blue-gray suit,
Sure
and
does.
that might be the argument against it because it's a little too much color. But I don't know, Neil Adams and that period, like all the way up to like Jim Aparo, made it work.
David Finch, the David Finch version that he did, I think when he was just doing variant covers for the beginning of the New 52, and it's a dark shade of blue, gray and black, and I'm like, that's how you do it in the movie, that's how you make it work.
Well, hell, you saw it when Jim Lee did his version of a blue-gray suit.
Yeah.
And I remember when they first released that Affleck image in black and white, people were coloring it to look like Jim Lee's colors, and it was like, that really worked. We'll get to him in a minute, though.
Indeed.
Joshua Wright says, just sending some love, building on the premise. What's the best-looking Bat villain on film? Best-looking Joker? Keep up the great work. I think it's a toss-up between Joker 89 and Joker Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Like
that's pretty good.
Those are so excellent.
Those are pretty good. Scarecrow is pretty accurate for the second we see him, but then he's gone.
Yeah. It's like he carries it around so that he can remind people he is the Scarecrow, but not actually use it in any way.
Because they might forget.
Plus, like, he only really has the bag. Like, the rest of it's just a suit. I mean, it makes sense. He can throw it on. He can throw it off. Like, he can assimilate into society. Nolan, he's doing a thing. So
he sure is.
Meow Nian says, oh my god, Cape Joel, I rarely catch streams with both of you. Could they be bringing back glowing white eyes and make it scary looking?
Oh, man.
I would love it. I know as a kid I always wanted the white eyes because it worked so well. Like, seeing Batman's pupils bothers me.
Yeah, I'm shocked they did it for Deadpool, but then again, Deadpool's a comedy character, so I guess they get a bit more leeway with it.
It works great, though.
Sure does.
Deadpool, no eyes, it's like, thank God. Like, thank God that they developed the Deadpool movie now when they could do it. Because I don't want to see Deadpool with eyes. I don't want to see the Batsuit with eyes, but I'll take it in the movies because I'm so conditioned to it.
Yeah.
The place I won't accept non-white-eyed Batman is in comics.
Agreed.
Unless you're doing Batman Earth 1, only Gary Frank can make that work.
In which case, that's part of the gimmick.
Yeah. Luke Verillo, odds are Warner Brothers could consider doing a Batman Beyond film with Keaton returning. Burton's Gotham looks exactly like it actually could advance to become Neo Gotham. It would be good to see the suit live action too. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to do that. I think that
I'm not holding my breath.
Keaton wouldn't really do it, probably. B, I think that it's too much of a leap in expectations for the audience. And C, it might be too expensive just to make like a fully CG, because they're not going to shoot on a set.
No, and also, like, is Batman Beyond, as much as we love it, is it that well-known, well-respected a brand that would get butts in seats from Joe and Jane Popcorn?
Yeah, because the whole thing is they canceled Batman the Animated Series to make way for Batman Beyond because they thought Batman Beyond would catch a wider audience, and it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great audience, and I love Terry McGinnis from the cartoon. I love that suit. It's my, like, top 2 bat suits. But I want to see it in live action.
You know what you do instead? You take the Batman Beyond concept and you do Batman into the Batverse with all the different movie Batmans together showing up is what you do.
I'm shocked they haven't even considered doing that.
Oh, that has to be someone's pitch in a desk somewhere where it's like, look, we can get all these actors back for pretty much nothing. They're not really doing much, a lot of these guys.
Yeah. Somnus, I've always wanted a film Batsuit with a cape that can cover his body like a cloak. Batman standing there hidden by his cape is so required.
Agreed.
Yeah. They from here on out, they pretty much do that, I'd say.
Yeah.
And Rusky9110 says, in a post-Iron Man world, could we ever get a Batman with multiple suits for specific uses like an Arctic suit? We kind of did.
Mm-hmm.
The Snyderverse introduces 3 bat suits. More than that? Yeah, 4. You got the stealth suit, the nightmare suit, the armor suit, and the regular suit.
In the span of only like 2.5 movies, and like they're not even Batman movies.
No. Arguably, though, his stealth suit is just a repurposed Night Owl suit from the Snyder Watchmen movie.
Mm-hmm.
The armor suit is just Dark Knight Returns armor, but more complicated.
Sure is.
And then you have the nightmare suit, which is literally just Batman wearing half his costume, the rest of it's his Hellboy coat, and like jeans. Like, it's not quite a thing. I dig it. I think if I was like 16, I'd love it.
Oh, that's who it was made for.
Right, but now I'm kind of like, it's kind of silly.
And don't forget, he has goggles and a gun to go through the Road Warrior world.
Yes. Batman and goggles and a gun. So then we get to the 80s, and we got the Michael Keaton suit, which is like a big departure for Batman.
Definitely.
And the only thing you could have done to make it work.
And seared into my brain as a young man.
Yes. All black. Only color is his face and the yellow.
Yep.
That's it. Also, this is the first time we're ever going to give him fake muscles. We're going to begin that trend because literally, like, barrel-chested shirt guy, no definition. Even if he had it, you wouldn't see it.
No.
Here it is again. Now you got armor, and it's just armor that. And I like this idea because they're like, okay, the armor is meant to trick superstitious, cowardly criminals into thinking that it's his flesh.
Yes.
So that's why we see that's why we see his musculature.
Indeed.
That belt, iconic. I love it. I love the '89 Batsuit belt. No logo. It's just a belt. I don't even know if it's supposed to have capsules and stuff on it. There's no way that's functional. It works so well. I just love it.
Looks very molded because it is molded and he can't turn his head, which honestly almost kind of helps Keaton's performance that he is this otherworldly robotic figure.
Yes. There's a lot going on in this suit that is different and that they will pretty much throw away immediately.
Yep.
The logo, the crest, the emblem is attached to the cowl.
Yeah, it is.
Put the cowl on, it flops on top of his armor, the cape hooks into it. And, of course, draws your attention to the fact that the marketing for the '89 Batman movie is the classic bat symbol. When you see Batman, he has an altered bat logo. They give him a little extra whoo at the bottom there. And you're like, why did you do that? I guarantee you it's just so you can be like, so you'll never forget that I made this.
And I don't.
Yeah, I never will. And I'm actually really thankful that they only ever used it in this.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Of course, Keaton, I don't want to talk about performances, but, like, man. Also, you got the sculpted face. This is a carryover also. Maybe what they were trying to do with, like, the etching on West's cowl was what they did here, where they sculpted in, like, eyebrows and ridges. Also, of course, long ears.
Very long ears.
Figured it out. Here's your long ears. And it works. I have worn this suit before. When I did performances as a superhero for children's birthday parties for a summer. And I was Batman, and the only suit they had was the '89 Bat Suit. And let me tell you something. It is heavy. It is hot. It has more pieces than you'd think. But when you wear it, you feel like a friggin' superhero. Like,
I bet.
The weight of it is amazing. The cape, like, it, how, like, you hear, like, the swooshes of the cape and, like, the leather, like, it makes those sounds.
Nice.
It has wooden dowels in the edges of the cape, so you can grab the cape and then, like, make swooshes, and, like, you can furl your cape around as you run in the other direction.
Sweet.
It is I will always love this suit. It is so sweet. It looked nothing like Batman back then, except for the silhouette, which is all they were going for.
I mean, they would actually kind of adopt this into what is it, Troika,
Yes.
that storyline, but only one.
Right, exactly. Where you're like, whoa.
So they tried it out for a minute, and they're like, nah, let's go back to the one we all know and remember.
Right. No underwear. This is the first time they were like, let's drop the briefs.
Yeah.
Just a black silhouette. I'm actually kind of impressed and delighted that they went with the silhouette. That they kept the yellow. They're like, we need a splash of color. Why not the belt and the emblem? Works
Helps break
so
it up
well.
in a great way.
It does. It breaks it up. The belt is not just a handy accessory. It breaks up the suit. It breaks up the black.
That's fashion forward.
Yeah, I love that suit. Not to be outdone, you move on to Batman Returns. You assume they're not going to change anything. They do. They change two major things. They don't give him a neck. Like, they don't give him a pivoting head. But they do give him different armor and a new bat emblem.
Yeah.
The armor is more armor. They drop the muscles. They're like, nah, drop the abs. Give him an actual armor. And I remember as a kid not really liking it because it was too close. It was not as close as a comic book.
Agreed.
But now that I'm thinking about it, it's pretty brilliant that they went with armor.
A little bit.
It works really well.
It's indicative of what we're going to see in the future. Clearly, someone this time around was like, but realistically, if he was in the real world, wouldn't he want this, that, and the other thing?
Exactly. Wouldn't he need something? And in fact, I think that the armor comes into play a couple times. I think like Selina like finds the areas where he's not armored and she stabs him with her sewing kit. But you got this the Bat logo, perfect.
Yes, agreed.
It will never look like this again.
That shade of yellow, those wings, yep, that's the one.
This is the last time you will see yellow on a bat suit, probably for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be a long time before you ever get yellow, like the yellow disc behind the bat logo on a suit again.
Takes me back, huh? Makes me wistful and nostalgic.
Mm-hmm. They don't really change much about the cowl, the ears, the boots, the gauntlets, the bracers, the underwear. They just leave it all.
Yeah, don't mess with it.
Somebody reminded me that he has like bat makeup. You're not supposed to know it's makeup, which is why when he rips his mask off, those aren't there because he would look like a raccoon and it would lose. it would make it more pathetic and sad.
Yep.
To imagine Batman putting on eye makeup.
I'm sure you never saw a terrible Woody Harrelson movie called Defendor where he was like a mentally ill man who dressed up as a superhero, and there's a whole bit.
I did not see that.
There's a whole bit where he's applying the dark raccoon makeup, and you see him with it on and off, and I'm like, oh yeah, that is sad. That is depressing.
Right.
Yeah, I see why Batman never did that, because that completely changes everything.
Yeah. I actually am incorrect about the logo, about the yellow, because they keep it for like the first 20 minutes of Batman Forever.
There's a whisper of it, a whisper of yellow.
Well, because they want to trick you. Because after Batman Returns and when they moved into the direction of Joel Schumacher, Keaton walks away. They want to trick you into thinking this is still in the same universe. This is a sequel to the last one.
It's all up in the air now, man.
So this Proto Bat Suit, this suit that Val Kilmer wears in the beginning of Batman Forever, has indications of what you remember, but also it is very much not what you remember. You do have the yellow disc, but the bat is changed. It is also raised. You go back. You go back to the muscles. And for the added bonus, you get some nipples on that.
He's shinier now, and yep, the nipples.
He's glistening. Also, just as not to focus too much on the nipples, but you also have a black belt.
Yes, black belt, which is very noticeable.
Yeah, we got to ditch that yellow. We're only going to keep it in this chest emblem for a minute.
Yep.
The nipples are a thing that make me crazy. As I recall, Joel Schumacher said something to the effect of, I wanted to capture his raw sexuality.
Yeah.
And Batman is an extension of his persona. Like Batman is a creature, and as such, he would have like true anatomy.
Yeah.
It's a stupid idea. It's always a stupid idea. It will never not be a bad idea.
It's a take.
But I'm glad that they did it. Here's why. It was a stark, hilarious, embarrassing differentiation between what you had and what you're about to get.
Yep.
You're like, hey, what's the button on this? What's the perfect punctuation mark I can put at the end of the sentence that says Joel Schumacher is going to screw up the Batman section or the Batman franchise? I know, a period-shaped anatomy.
Yep. And not only that, let us have the camera dwell on the bat nipples and the bat butt and the bat cod piece and everything else.
Please. Now. More bat butt. Then in the same movie, they give Robin a suit, which like at least they got the colors right, but they switched up the suit again. Boom, he drops the emblem entirely. It becomes like an etched gigantic bat.
Which I have never liked.
Nope, it's awful. They do bridge the gap between the armor and the anatomy, like the abs, by just being like, those are implied abs, but really we get it, it's armor.
A big, ugly, almost Power Rangers-esque belt with the logo, very, very loud and very in your face.
Yes. Again, nothing like the comics. No one wanted this.
Bluer than black.
I also forgot to mention, like, you know, you can't really see it from the picture, but on the cowl, you got like other flaring going on. Like there's accents and you know, additions on this suit that are consistent throughout. It's actually a pretty cohesive piece.
Oh,
It would be great for like a parody of Batman.
Absolutely, or this is your mirror universe double from like Earth, I don't know, 57, I don't know.
Right, exactly. Then we move on to Batman and Robin, which is like for everyone like the end of the end. But before we can get
multiple suits in,
and that's the thing, you get multiple suits. You still there? Oh, there you are.
Yep, I'm still here.
All right. Well, while I'm readjusting you, let's take a look at this Clooney suit. The first Clooney suit, not as bad as the like, I don't know what you'd call it, like the finale suit that Kilmer had to wear.
They've made some improvements.
Yeah, like the cape has like buckles on the shoulder,
which is an interesting addition.
Yeah, odd choice. This is where they were like, all right, we're never going to stop doing this with the belt, where it's like, it's a mess. It wouldn't work. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. But at least he kind of looks like Batman.
Yeah, a little bit. The ears are bigger and more pronounced now, although they are much more rigid than they were before. They stick like right up.
Yeah, they're very prominent. They're oddly prominent ears.
Very much so. Also, I don't think he can move in this one again. Like the other suits seemed like there was a level of movability. Again, the only thing I think they have now is the buckles on the cape, so he can take it on and off probably in between takes.
Very much that. I'm sure that cape was like 30 pounds.
Oh yeah.
But also maybe they can hide neck movement a little better by doing that, because like instead of it being attached to the whole piece. But then, of course, you know, the movie has to end. We got to sell more toys. So let's get a new Batsuit that is just like, I don't even, like, so it's like making fun of a clown. Like, where do you start? With his floppy shoes, his big red nose.
It's the Arctic Attack Batman that you can play with in your freezer, kids.
Right. He looks like he's a dessert. I don't know. It's...
Yeah, that blue and that white.
Nothing about this is good. It is very much an action figure came to life.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. Which, again, Schumacher's even said, when I went out there and I made Batman and Robin, they didn't say make a good movie. They said make a toy commercial, and I made a hell of a toy commercial.
Right. Like, I wouldn't be proud of that. But, woof.
Yeah. And as you can see on the belt here, that's where he keeps his Bat wallet for his Bat credit card.
Naturally. Never leave the cave without it.
Yeah, naturally.
what was it? The fake Grant Morrison says, other than Burton, no other Gotham has really felt like Gotham. They're all too clean. Begins as the exception, but it was reverted in the next film. Yeah.
Agreed. They
yeah.
feel like too real a city where it's like, yeah, well, that's just Chicago or that's just wherever.
Right. I'll tell you this. The Narrows was a little weird because it was so tacked on. I was like, meh. I'm kind of glad they got rid of it because I really didn't care about that idea, that plot. I was like, I just want to watch Batman be Batman for the city, not for like this one area. Like, you know, it just kind of seemed meh to me.
I like that it felt claustrophobic, and maybe that's something more about Nolan's shooting style, but that's kind of how I felt about it, where
That's
it's like this city's literally crushing me.
Yeah, the Burton Gotham has character.
Totally.
That's really all I can say. Like, I
It's
liked
gothic.
it. Yeah, but I don't know if I'd want it every time. The Batman Begins suit.
Yeah.
This is less, I think, about getting Batman right than it is about apologizing for what you did.
Yes, this is the anti-Schumacher everything.
It has to be real, it has to make sense, but we can't get away from it because, like, the same freaking people who made this suit made the last suit.
He still can't move his head.
So he won't be able to turn his head. He's very stiff.
The symbol is still etched.
Yeah, it's like barely there. I mean, like, really, I think, and I'd imagine that Hollywood is probably like, well, the reality is, like, you get that he's Batman. Like, he doesn't need to brand everything.
The ears in this era are weird too because they don't stick up straight. They're kind of swooped a little bit.
Yeah, they're a little, well, because they turned it into antenna.
Right.
The suit has a lot going for it. It is black. They bring back some yellow. They're like, look, if we're not going to keep the disc, we got to make the belt yellow.
Got to break it up with something. The pauldrons are kind of interesting too. Now that he can like fire them, and now that they actually have a little bit of story significance because he got that from Ra's al Ghul, who just kind of did that, which I guess makes sense because a bat isn't known for having spiked arms. Yes.
No, but I like that it's an incorporation of being like a ninja. It's a holdover. This is also a big change. You got this cloth cape.
Yes.
The blacks don't match. They're never going to.
No.
That being said, there are some shots, particularly in the light, where it looks a little silly.
They get better by the time Dark Knight comes around, and there's that thing where he's on the car, and it's like, you know, at night, and it's blowing in the wind and everything. I like what they're trying to invoke there. That's a very comic shot.
Totally. And when this movie came out, I was ready for it. I was thankful for it, and it works a lot. It works. It works especially in direct contrast to what they did before.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't want to judge it too harshly, but
it's the Batman suit we needed for that time in Batman movie history.
Literally, it is. It's not the suit we wanted, but it's not the suit we deserve, but it's the one we needed right then.
There you go.
So that worked to its own favor. You know, but they did, I think, do a couple things right, or at the very least try to acknowledge a couple of those changes with Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, which are essentially the same suit. I'm not even going to try to argue that, like, there's much of a shift at all.
Yeah.
And I think it's mostly because, like, he doesn't change his out. He doesn't use a new bat suit between the two movies. So it's just that one.
We lose more of the symbol. Yeah.
Right. The symbol becomes more, it disappears a little further. It's weird because it's almost like they made the symbol a little smaller, but they made a big outline around it as well.
It's very strange to look at it because, like, in the movie, because the movie's shot in the dark most of the time.
Yes.
So you don't really get a chance to, you know, kind of obsess over. But as I look at it now, just in like production material, I'm like, wow, there's barely anything there. It also looks way more armor than we ever had before. This is just like, you could get this tactical gear, you know, off Amazon. You could order this.
Totally. And in the Nolan verse, makes perfect sense. Also, I love that they acknowledge the idea that, like, I want to turn my head. We got to make me less bulky. I got to be able to move around. Batman turning his head, as it turns out, was actually a big help. Like, it did actually help with the narrative and with the believability of Batman.
Making it part of the story was kind of fun.
I loved that. I mean, it's a great conversation. It's a great, like, fourth wall breaking reference. That said, the as a result of separating the cowl from the neck, it looks like he's wearing a helmet.
It really, really does. It looks like he's wearing a very, very customized helmet.
Yes. That's fine. Again, it's the one we needed at the time. They didn't even bother. That belt, same as the last belt, but like a little less yellow. You know, like everything about like he keeps the bracers. The cape becomes a lot less ridiculous for some reason.
And a lot less pronounced is the other thing.
Yeah.
I like a nice pronounced cape, but then again, I've grown up on a generation of artists being like, I don't want to draw all of Batman today, so we're just gonna have that cape obscure all the parts I don't want to draw.
Exactly. I love this suit in these movies. If they said like stop drawing, you've hit oil from now on, Batman's gonna look like this, I'd be very disappointed.
Likewise, it works the way it does. And I think, too, it's around this time we get the Arkham Origins and everything else being like, okay, let's put even more armor. The Injustice games, it's all armor all the time.
The Injustice games, he looks pretty much like this.
Yeah.
That, for me, is enough to tell you, like, you don't want this across media. Like, you don't want a comic book version of this. Look at the Injustice comics. They draw that. It doesn't work. Or at least, it's not as exciting.
It's off-putting. It feels wrong, but you get away with it because it's another universe, and it's supposed to feel off-putting and wrong.
Right. But it works for itself. It does not work for me as a Batman costume.
Yeah.
I don't really want this anymore.
You have to wonder if Nolan had gotten another Batman movie, which I know he never would have because he finished the story at the end of Rises. If they had done another Batman suit, would we have seen another evolution of the costume, and what could it possibly have looked like?
Yeah, I think we would have gotten at least... The thing is, it depends on where Batman is, because like the suit represents Bruce Wayne's inability to change and his refusal to evolve. So it's like, no, I'm just going to go back to where I was. And it's like, okay, but you can't. And it's like, it just so happened that he has to like die in order to move on to the next thing. And when he's done, there is no more Batsuit. So there's no place to go from there. But I think he would have definitely changed it.
But what would Detective Robin's suit look like? Remember him, Officer Robin from the last?
I think he would have looked like Batman.
I guess so.
I think he would have put on that suit.
Nah, he would have painted it red and green and yellow is what he would have done.
I think there will be no... I think that in the Nolan verse, there is no Robin. He's called Robin, but he becomes Batman.
There you go.
I mean, like, listen, the movie's called Dark Knight Rises. He gets on the platform. He rises. He's the Dark Knight now. He's Batman.
Fair.
Somnus says, Bat voice preference, voice changer or acting? Acting.
Yes, always acting.
I liked the idea behind the Affleck voice changer. But then you lose performance and character. So I think not.
Again, I think Keaton nailed it right away. Have two voices for it. Be so intimidating in your performance that no one would believe Bruce Wayne could ever possibly be Batman.
Exactly. I'm more of like an actor purist. Like, let the actor find the voice. You do run the risk of getting like a meme.
Yeah.
But at the same time, no one's laughing during those movies. I remember when he interrogates Flash and he's like, "Where were the other drugs going?" Everyone in that theater was like, "Yes."
Yeah, it's only afterwards do we make fun of it in retrospect.
Well, no, it's when they overdo it in the next ones where he's talking to Alfred or Lucius or Catwoman and he's like, "So I'm thinking I'm gonna go get some groceries." You're like, they know who you are. You don't need to do the voice anymore.
Every single time, I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Yeah, that's weak. And as I understand it, they upped it in post. They made it more gravelly than it was supposed to be.
But not the silliest voice in those movies. No. When you have Bane to pretend with. Hello,
yeah, who's got time to make fun of Batman when you got Bane there?
And that's his great legacy.
Yeah, thanks. You know I'm Hispanic?
Aren't you, though?
Ali Alziadi says, I like the return suit more than the 89 suit. Yeah, I think so, too. I think it's a good evolution.
A lot of little improvements, but they're big ones.
But the return suit is a good progression. Meow Nian, Batman and Robin suit looks like a 2000s compact Presario.
Little bit.
That's pretty good.
Again, I see the Power Ranger influence and not in a good way.
No. And Rusky says, did Nolan come up with using the cape as a glider? I think that it's more like he justified making the cape into a glider. I think, for the most part, Batman used the cape to assist in gliding, but he used the grapple gun.
Right, because it's like, why would you have a cape if not, if it did not serve a tactical purpose? You're not gonna have it just because you want to make yourself a bat father.
No, that's the thing, is that like Batman in those movies needs to be justifiable. It's not just cool.
Because Zorro had a cape.
Right. Like, and they're not gonna say that.
No, which they should. I hope they do eventually get to that point. Why a cape? Zorro has a cape.
Because Zorro had a cape.
And Zorro's badass.
Then you got the Affleck suit.
Yes.
Uh,
There's a lot to unpack here.
we've talked about this before on numerous occasions. I think this is the Jim Lee suit. I think that this is as close to Jim Lee as the movies have ever gotten. It's the closest to comics
With a lot of Frank Miller influence.
It is straight up a hodgepodge. It is Frank Miller by Jim Lee.
The short ears, the way too big bat symbol, where it's like, what is even that? Like, again, that Frank Miller drawing is not meant to come to life, Zach.
But we do get it. Like, it is some transition between the Dark Knight suits from Dark Knight Returns. You have the blue and the gray. There's no blue in it, but it's a combination.
I appreciate the gray body stocking. I am glad that we got a modern version of that. That is how Batman lives in my mind palace and will always live in my mind palace.
Yep.
I wish there was other stuff that didn't make it so off-putting. Again, we talked about actor physicality here. Affleck clearly hit the gym for this one, but he's very top-heavy. He's a Frank Miller drawing come to life. He's a shaved gorilla for most of the movie.
He's huge. But there are a couple of things, and it is straight up Frank Miller. You look at the bracers, which they like the little like guys. He does get those, and they are from Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
The only thing that really isn't from Dark Knight Returns is the belt. The belt is more tactical. It's more modern interpretation. It's not pouches. I think it is
very
yellow.
Cargo pants. Yeah.
It is yellow. It's just more like worn.
I'd call it more tactical sand.
it definitely sand. The cowl, I think it works, particularly because it is invoking the Frank Miller image. The cape is great, mostly because it's CG.
Yeah, Affleck, for all of his trouble, we cannot deny the man had a good jawline for a mask.
Oh, totally. No, we knew that from Daredevil. Unfortunately, he didn't have a good mask for the jawline. But now we finally got it, and it looked really good. Like, when we saw any of the promo images for Batman, for Affleck, dispelled any complaints about Affleck for the most part.
It's a shame the movie wasn't there for him, though.
No, I agree. Then you got the Nightmare suit, which is literally just the same suit in a trench coat with goggles. This is, like I said, like if you're 14, you think this is totally awesome, and I don't blame you. Like, I definitely would have wanted to cosplay this as a kid.
I saw Road Warrior. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, the question is why he's wearing a mask if he has goggles.
That's putting a hat on a hat, man.
Exactly.
That's the definition of putting a hat on a hat.
Yeah, is it objectively rad and cool? I would argue to the affirmative.
Oh, and a scarf too. He's got like one of those face coverings that you get at the mall too to keep sand out of your mouth and to further obscure your identity.
Right. I mean, it's literally just the bat suit from the waist up with a cape on it, or with a coat on it.
Yep.
So it's not really much of a costume. We'll never see it again.
They made a lot of merch out of this. I have a Funko of this that someone sent me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because like it implies so much, you'll never get it.
Yep.
So you might as well get as much mileage as you can from your imagination.
Indeed.
But like I said, I was shocked by how close to the comics this suit was.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
And I feel like because of its like perceived failure, we won't get there for a while.
Because DC and Warner Brothers always learns the wrong lessons and always overcorrects in the opposite direction.
It's like the WB and Sony have the same playbook. Like,
Indeed.
I don't know. But I will say that, yeah, the Pattinson suit, I think, is going to be a reaction to this suit.
Oh, almost certainly, 100%.
Yeah. So, but close to the comics, just like not the right comics for this time. It's kind of like, what? Then, of course, there was the bat armor.
Yes, which
Like,
again, hello Frank Miller again. It's been so long.
straight up Dark Knight Returns cowl. The rest of it is not, because they're like, oh great, I don't have to put the bat on it anymore. Haha. It's this was very cool. You also finally got pupilless eyes.
Indeed, yeah, we finally got the whites. Holy shit.
And they can explain it by being like, it's a helmet.
Yeah.
And because like you're in a post-Iron Man world, you buy it.
Indeed.
I remember when they released this image, I was like, I can't believe we're doing Dark Knight Returns now.
Yeah, for only the second movie in this shared universe experiment. We're already here. We're already at Dark Knight Returns.
And like, so Superman and Batman are gonna meet for the first time, and they're gonna fight like it's the last time.
Yep.
What?
Because we're smart and we know how to build a universe. Oh no, wait, no, we don't. Scrap everything and start from the beginning.
Yeah. This is frustrating. It's funny because like there's a lot of cool in here, obviously, because Frank Miller drew a really cool suit back then. And Snyder didn't want to work on something original, so he did this. I mean, like, literally, you know, the reason why Watchmen is pretty good is as a movie is because Snyder just did the book.
Indeed, in a lot of ways. You could argue he might not have understood the deeper meaning or subtext, but man, them some cool-ass images in there.
It's the comic come to life for the most part. And he did that with this. The frustrating thing is we'll never get this again. It's one of those things where it's like, we got Jim Lee drawing Dark Knight Returns on screen. We will never get that again.
I think it's another like example of kind of the monkey's paw wish of like, man, I wish more fans would be involved in these movies and I wish more fans could make these. Do you really want that though? Because sometimes fans are way too close to the material and sometimes you get stuff like this.
Yeah, you'll never get true Dark Knight Returns Batman.
Like, I don't care what other people want. I just care what I want from this project. And this is what
I'm only going to do like one or two of these anyway. So, and then I'm going to leave forever.
So I'm going to do my fucking bat armor.
Yeah. Somebody pointed out, like, in the Nolan universe, he does like have like a heads-up display that hides his eyes.
For like a minute.
They're also blue.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of that. It's not about...
It invokes that idea, but again, we don't get the whites of his eyes.
No, and not for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
You also get it, I think, in Batman Forever when he drops his heads-up display and he throws the Batarang at Riddler's machine.
Right.
So, like, yes, there were technically those. In fact, Joshua Wright says, weren't there pupilless eyes in Dark Knight when he uses the phone sonar thing? It's brief, but I'm pretty sure they're there. You are pretty sure, and you're right. They were there. The only thing is, it's not quite the same thing.
And brief.
Yeah, like, if you got that feeling, I'm glad you enjoyed it. For me, I was like, it was part of the story. This armor thing is Snyder being like, I'm doing the thing from the comic.
Yeah.
Depth Charge says, that nightmare suit reminded me of Midnighter. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then we got nothing. Like, now it's... And then we're getting another Batman.
Well, but wasn't there also like a stealth suit at the end of Justice League?
I didn't even bother. Yeah, it looks just like Night Owl.
Or Owlman, if you would prefer.
Yeah, it really looks like Owlman.
Right down to the goggles.
Would have been pretty cool if they were like, this whole thing sucks. Like,
it turns out we've actually been watching the birth of the crime syndicate this whole time in Earth 3.
Yeah, and so we go to like Prime Earth, and everyone's just kind of like younger.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman's played by the same person.
There you go. She can play double duty because she's just that good.
Right? I guess. And Cavill too, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. What? Oh, no, it's complicated.
Yeah, and also not happening, so whatever.
That's the thing, is that you're never going to get that.
Yeah.
So now you're getting this new universe, or not, whatever. Pattinson's getting a new suit. They're going more, like, literal. They're going more leather.
Yeah, which I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the leather. It looked a little overly armored in the shoulders. It reminded me very much of Arkham Origins, but I appreciate the cowl. Looks like something he can take on and off.
Yes. Yeah, it's not complicated. My question is, what elements work, and what do we want to see? Like, forgetting the Pattinson suit. You're making a Batman movie. What elements can you keep? let's start with a stock Batman image.
Right. I think we're both big fans of the gray body sock. We would like to see the gray body sock return.
Yes, I think so. I think the gray body sock works. I think you whereas in the comics, I am a purist for the trunks. You don't need the trunks on screen. I don't think you need them. I don't think they're as important. They're not as vital.
Can we kind of do what they did in the beginning of like DC Rebirth when it looked like they were almost wearing bat chaps where there was kind of like almost an outline, like there was something there, even if it's not the trunks.
Right, like some kind of design instead of it being trunks. I would be willing to compromise for some kind of method to break it up.
Perhaps some type of tactical bat cod piece of some kind to protect his junk region.
I'm hesitant to talk about cod pieces. I think it's more like he'll wear like a cup.
There you go.
You know? I also would love to see a belt. And when I say a belt, I mean like, honestly, I'd like to see like a Dark Knight Returns pouches belt.
Yeah, that's a good look.
Where it's like made of leather and you like bought it at REI. Like it's just a heavy duty tactical belt, but I would take the like stylized hard metal plastic whatever the hell
where it's kind of high tech and he just hits a button and shit flies out.
Yeah, but I do love that big yellow belt buckle.
It breaks up the costume. It's good.
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing is, you won't need the trunks if you keep the yellow belt.
Yeah, maybe make it a little bigger and a little bit more pronounced.
That's the thing, make it bigger. I wouldn't make it like a truss that like holds in whoever the actor's like gut is, but I would go full yellow belt with it. Not bright yellow necessarily, but like, you know, like Batman 89, like that yellow.
Right.
So gray body sock, yellow belt.
All right, if we want to talk about armor, let me get what you feel on this one.
All right,
Instead of going a fully armored chest piece and everything that looks bulky and big, give him armored gauntlets and armored like boots and everything there where it's like, look, I am protecting my hands and my feet, and also when I punch you and kick you, they're going to hurt like motherfuckers because look at these.
Right. I'm fine with that. I like the idea of that. You see that in the Arkham games where like it's kind of like you also he can use it as like a signal scrambler. He can communicate with Alfred or his Batmobile.
The tech is in the gauntlets.
Yes. The boots can also, if you want to go full armor with the boots, as long as they don't look too complicated, you know, as long as it's like, I want to go like sleek Iron Man with them.
Right.
That way, when he grapples or if he like leaves, they're almost like rocket boots.
Right, where it's like, oh, we have spring-assisted leaping in these or something.
Yeah, just something to give him weight, but they assist when he's like leaping over buildings and stuff.
Give him like whirly gyros and everything, and we see it when he like does the grappling hook thing. They start whirling when he jumps, and that communicates to us, the audience, like, oh, those are helping him do the impossible thing.
Exactly. I think that I would totally take if we're gonna simplify the body piece, right? Make it much more simpler. I buy armor. It's underneath.
There you go. It's paneling is the thing. Like if we get really close to him, where it's like, oh, you know, this is like not quite scale mail, but definitely looks like, you know, nanofibers and like under. Ooh, maybe there's a scene where he gets shot and he has to like go under and like remove one of the plates and take the bullet out and then put it back in.
Exactly, plates. Just there's plating there. When you get close up, you can see you can see them there, like underneath. But from afar, it looks like either like he's just bulky and muscly or whatever, or nothing.
You know who actually did it great?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen it. That new artwork they came out with for Zdarsky's Daredevil, where he's almost got like, what is it? Like little designy things. I don't even know what you like piping down the side, which makes the chest area that much more pronounced. It's not armor. It's definitely fabric, but it gives you the idea of extra protection.
Yes. That new design for Daredevil. I mean, I'm glad we're getting back to yellow, and I'm glad we're like going armor for it. He's protecting himself now.
Yes.
You know, especially if like Marvel came down and was like, you got to do something new with Daredevil.
Yeah, he tucks his pants in now.
Yeah, I don't know if I want. He's got like that piping that kind of like creates an arrow. The new Daredevil suit does.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that necessarily for Batman, but I would be fine with it.
Yeah.
Especially because like with Daredevil's, it goes the upcoming suit It goes from I think down the arms, and then it meets here, and then it goes down into the belt, and it kind of stops at the belt.
It's very stylized.
If the belt is the stopping point for design, that also works for me.
Yeah.
And I can take it or leave it. I remember, like, as a kid/teen, I was like, yes, get rid of that yellow disc behind the bat emblem. He looks like a dope. It's time to move on. It's totally cooler when it's just a big black bat. We've seen the big black bat.
We have.
For what? 6 movies? Like, Begins, Night, Rises, BVS, Justice League. 5 movies at least.
It's been a real long time.
Not including Batman and Robin. So, like, 6 movies. Plus this movie, 7 movies. I would be okay with it. It depends on how big the bat is. And since we've seen giant bats, I wouldn't go like super small. Like,
same. Let's get a nice medium one.
Nice medium bat. Maybe go with a disc.
That would be cool. Also, what was again, to bring it back to Finch? Was it Brightest? No, it wasn't Brightest Day, but it was like right when Batman came back to life, and he had a brand new suit that was kind of brighter and shinier, and he had a chest piece where it was the yellow like back piece and the bat, but it was almost like he had like a bit of an armor thing on the chest where it was like a pronounced, like it was a piece.
Yes, it was raised. It was like an actual like piece. I remember you could actually get the Batman Incorporated suit.
Yes.
For Arkham City, I think.
I liked that piece, and we never saw it again. It never became recurring, but I think it would work very well in the movies.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a good way to do it. It's more or less what they did with the Burton movie, with at least Returns. But it looked kind of like this, where it's like a soap dish.
Yeah, and that's a very good way to put it. It is a soap dish. You're right.
Which doesn't really impress, but at the same time, you at least get it. And you could, because you do that and you justify it by being like it's armor, it's supposed to draw your eye, and your bullet, it's supposed to focus, you can go comic book with it. Like, you could make it the comic book logo.
Be like, oh, it's a shock absorber, or like, oh, this if I ever pass out, Alfred can hit a button and this shocks me. It's a resuscitator, is what it is.
Right, it's a defibrillator that's built into the suit.
Bat defibrillator.
That would be messed up.
That would be messed up, but I kind of like it where it's like, oh, this shoots morphine into me when I need it.
Right.
I'm running a cocktail of morphine and what's that stuff? What is it? With speed into my bloodstream so I can Batman that much harder.
Yeah. Nerd King 101 says, that's a great idea. Make this new world another Earth. Yeah. I think they're probably gonna try and do that. We'll see what happens with Wonder Woman.
We're basically doing it. We did a whole Harley Quinn movie set in Gotham where Batman was only mentioned once and never showed up.
Yeah. Rusky mentions, can't hear about Batman Rebirth without hearing about Sal's rant about Snyder changing the costume and leaving the book in I Am Gotham back issues. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, here's a question. What about that Rebirth suit? You get the big black bat, but with, like, yellow outline.
Yeah.
I think you could do it. I wouldn't want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's also too purple. The rest of it.
Yeah, you've never been a fan of purple. Remember when Batman had orange in his suit for a minute?
No.
Wasn't that he had like some orange outlines there, and what was it? The tail end of the New 52 when he came back to life and had a new suit, there were some orange accents. I remember you really hated that.
I'm sure I did.
To which I had no problem with it because I'm like, ooh, I like orange. You never see orange in any costume. That's fun.
Yeah, no. Meow Nyan, black pants, gray thin armor equals black trunks look. Yeah. I mean, right? Like, yeah. I don't know if I want it to be. I don't want it to look like he's wearing pants. It needs to be a body sock.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go. And J. Joseph Frazier says, headcanon time, Batman is into BDSM, and Catwoman is his dom, seeing who's been a bad little orphan.
I saw this tweet.
Whatcha? Yeah.
I saw that tweet. You didn't come up with that, but it's still pretty funny and very believable also.
Yes. I mean, like, I'm sure.
You joke, but Catwoman was a professional dom in some of those things.
Yeah, Frank Miller's Year One of the most definitive origin stories of Batman. She's a dom.
Well, I
And
mean, I think she was also a prostitute, but I think Frank Miller doesn't know the
yeah,
difference between doms
he
and
most certainly does
prostitutes.
not. But she's a dominatrix prostitute.
There you go. Got to
And
diversify in this economy. You got to have two jobs.
exactly, no. But yeah, and I would keep keep the bracers. It's part of the armor, but it's clearly stylistically designed to be that way.
Mm.
And the cowl.
We thinking big ears? We thinking little ears? What are we thinking here?
I
Are
mean,
they?
like, I think a
are they
mid-range. I wouldn't go too tall, but you can't do what they did already with the Snyder suit. So I'd go a little taller.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go crazy tall, but like I don't want it to look like Frank Miller Batman. I want it to look like its own Batman. The ears have to be pronounced enough to recognize it's Batman. The silhouette has to be there. The lights behind him, you know exactly who that is from just the silhouette.
We putting any flares on the mask? Any extra anything?
Absolutely not. Nothing. Nope.
Not even a clasp or a lock to be like, oh, this is what keeps the mask on my head from falling off, and if you try and take it off, it shocks you or something.
If you want to add that, I'm okay with that. But otherwise, like, I want it to be like as streamlined and simplistic as possible. I would also maybe not necessarily make him pupilless, but I would have like a stealth mode that he could access. Where it's like he taps the side of his cowl, and he gets white over his
like
eyes.
it.
Like maybe you incorporate the Arkham Asylum like detective mode. So he turns it on.
This I like because we're thinking of building the costume with story stuff in mind, and I feel like sometimes those are in two completely separate rooms, the people writing and the people designing the costume, when they should be working closer together.
Because the thing is, like, there's a guy on Twitter, I don't remember who it is, but like posts like random shots from movies, from comic book movies over time, and like not just comic book movies, but like I see a lot of shots from like Batman '89 and Batman Returns, where it's like you got these gorgeous shots that are like every frame is a painting, and every shot is like this gorgeous depiction of a world, and it's like a snapshot / comic book panel.
Right.
Like, you can get a minute, like a shot where like Batman is investigating something, and he's got his long flowing cape. By the way, long flowing cape, black.
I was gonna say, is it gonna be fabric, or are we gonna CGI that thing?
I think it's got to be CG at this point. I think that like for static shots where he's not doing anything, it can be practical.
And it only helps the actor too.
That's the thing. You can't have him just standing there with a friggin' mocap suit on. You got to have him with that cape. But it's got to be like flowing and like loose, but like it forms around, and he can like pull it and keep it tight. But I want that image like a Capullo image of him like in a warehouse or in like a murder scene, and there's like a lone light bulb hanging from behind him.
So good.
He's in detective mode, got whites in his eyes, all black. You see the image, and the cape just flows down. Like just that shot. You can achieve these images, but still have it make sense in story, so that you're just like, oh my god, we're getting this visual of Batman I've never seen on film yet. That I've seen 1,000 times in the comic books.
I know exactly what you mean. I want that, and I also want him hanging off a gargoyle in the rain with the cape doing the thing.
Right? Maybe he's using his night vision as like, or his detective mode as like a night vision or telescopic vision. Whites. It looks really cool.
Spying on some gangsters in a building across the way.
Right? I think that these are the things that make it work, because people are ready. Like Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America, like Superman, they all look like the comic book.
Yep.
I mean, even the Affleck suit, like you got 4 of those things, and no one hated all of them. So there is room for you to make your comic book superhero movie look like a comic book superhero. And so when it comes to this, like, is there any element that I'd borrow from any of these guys? Just like the fabric, like just like the methodology. I think I'd go closer to 89 logo. No, Returns logo for that raised soap dish Batman Inc. logo. And that's kind of, and then I'd go from there.
How are we feeling about actor physicality here? Should they be independently ripped, or should we let the costume do some of that heavy lifting for them?
Costume's got to make it bigger. I don't like a Batman that's massive unless he's 56 or whatever he is in Dark Knight Returns. Like, he needs to be... Dark Knight Returns is when he gets huge.
Yeah, he needs to be a ninja, damn it.
Yeah, he needs to slink, and when he sits on a gargoyle, he needs to not break underneath him. Like, he I don't want him to be massive, and he's scary because you think it's a Batman.
He should be larger than life, not be big.
Yeah, well, like, I think that too often Hollywood and fans of these movies get it confused where they're like, no, it's horrifying to imagine a lunatic in a bat suit chasing after you with high-tech weaponry. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but like, that's not who Batman is. Like, it is when you look at it from like a psychoanalyst perspective, but like, how often are we doing that? It's more about like making a cool looking movie and telling a really engaging story about a superhero. So they should be afraid of Batman because they think there's a giant bat chasing them.
Yeah.
Like, because criminals are a superstitious and cowardly lot. That's why he's wearing a costume. It's not tactical. I mean, it becomes tactical, but it's mostly to frighten the shit out of people.
To strike fear into the hearts of criminals everywhere.
And when Batman puts on a bat suit, he's not doing it because he's like, this will be great. They'll think I'm some asshole lunatic in a bat costume. Like, no, that's what the Justice League thinks of him. But the criminals of Gotham are like, I'm not sure if there's a Batman or if there's a Man-Bat.
Yeah. I mean,
Sometimes
there is a man.
both.
Yeah, exactly.
Nathan Gleason, when you saw Battinson, did you think Daredevil? I'm sure you did, Joel.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of did, but like they had that red light on it, so it was like all I could think was Daredevil. I didn't think it too much. I was more like, like I love Daredevil's suit, but it didn't look too much like Daredevil to me.
Not a lot of it. I mean, credit where credit is due for them there. I mean, he did look like he could move in it. It looks like he could slink.
Yeah, it works for me. All we see is his head and chest, so like I don't know. I want to see that cape. I want to see those boots. Lucha Dandy. How about the color scheme? Maybe some blue? I mean, like, I would maybe here's the thing. I would cheat. I'd make it black, but like tricks of the light.
It's got a blue tinge to it.
Give you a blue hint. Like people bitch and moan about Spider-Man, Iron Man Jr.
Yes,
and how it's like this is not anywhere close. You got an image of Spider-Man with the half Spider-Man face, half Peter Parker face. And then he did the lifting of the machinery.
Yep, like from the Master Planner arc.
Like you got these visuals in a movie where you know that like that you couldn't do those, and we still managed to make it work and make it achievable. You don't need it to be a Neil Adams suit to get a Neil Adams look.
Absolutely.
You can cheat that with like effects or atmosphere or scenes like that are in a different location. You could go to a fun house and Joker's like turning on lights and one of them's blue, and it's like, oh, it kind of looks like that. Like you could cheat it, and because the thing is, I love Blue Batman.
Yeah.
And when I'm playing Arkham City or whatever, I throw on the Neil Adams suit because it's such a stark, different. You really stand out against that city because it's designed around your Arkham City Batman. But it wouldn't work if that was the standard Batsuit. It only works because it's an exception. It's a little fun addendum. You switch suits. You don't always play as Neil Adams Batman. You don't want to watch a movie where it's just the Adams suit.
Yeah, and I mean, such is the thing with these movies now. It's like, he starts with one costume, and then in the sequel, he'll probably have another one.
Right. Joshua Wright, I know you're talking movies, but I absolutely love the suit in Batwoman. I can't wait to eventually see Bruce wearing the original version.
That Batwoman suit is pretty solid. It marries a lot of great stuff from the comics, and the actress can move in it.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how accurate it is.
Yeah, I'm shocked at that too. And yeah, when they eventually do get Batman in that show, I will be interested to see what his suit looks like. Because again, hey, here's another thing that people don't want to give the CW credit for. But the fact that they've been doing these shows for so long, their costumes are actually getting better. And when they fuck up, like when they fucked up with like Brainiac 5, they got to do it again. And it looked better when they did it again.
Yeah, and as much as like people hate Titans, at least like I can't believe how good Hawk and Dove and Nightwing look.
Hawk and Dove should never look that good in anything, and it blows my goddamn mind to pieces every time when I think about it.
But that's great because it's a good testing ground. Like, oh, well, we'll just take those and bring them over to the CW show. Like, I don't know why they can't get Flash right for some reason, but like everybody else looks great. All the crime fighters look awesome.
Flash has gotten better again. I think people forget now what he actually looked like when he started.
Yeah.
He looked like a basketball when he started.
The Iceman says, I personally like the bat armor. I feel like it makes sense for all the punishment Batman takes. Also makes sense since he's rich enough to make armor. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the justification for Batman surviving in a world where you demand realism from superhero comics.
But artistically,
it does, like, if Batman started out looking like now he wouldn't work. Because it would be like, why don't you just tell a story about a policeman then? Like, why don't you tell a story about a fighter? Like, why don't you tell a story about a soldier?
Yeah.
Why are we watching a suit? Like, why are we literally looking at a Call of Duty character that has bat ears? Like, there's a reason why we like these things, and part of it is because they look like freaking superheroes.
Indeed.
Nathan Gleason's my bat suit is Batman 2004. Short ears, long cape draping on the floor, from batarangs, claws, black cape, blue underside, long white eyes. Fair enough, man. I don't blame you. I think that's cool. I like that suit. I mean, like, I like short ears. I always loved the short ears, but only because of the Frank Miller influence.
Yeah.
Over time, I found that, like, people are like, "What's your favorite bat suit? Go." And I'm like, I don't really know. Like, I love them all because there are so many,
and they all bring something different and iconic.
Yeah, like, exactly, and they each represent a different era, and they work differently.
They're all their own little time capsule unto themselves,
right? Todd, man, would all white contact lenses work for the eye? It would look weird, I promise you. I've seen the all white contact lens. It looks weird. It doesn't work. They did it in if you watch the fan film where Batman fights the Predator.
Yes.
He wears the contacts, and it's cool, but it doesn't quite work.
Man, God bless all those, YouTube filmmakers and cosplayers and everything, where it's like, I hope you guys are watching these people because they give you a nice, like, thing of like, ooh, so that's what that looks like in real life, huh?
Yeah, Batman Dead End. You can find it on YouTube or anywhere else. Watch that when you'll see it. It's like, oh, what? Like, it's this, because you can still see his flesh. It's like, you need it to be solid. The Batman Who Points. I want that Alex Ross art brought to life, damn it. Keep up the good work. I don't blame you, man. That Alex Ross thing is the closest thing to real Batman you will ever see.
Don't we all?
That being said, I think he's a little too bulky. I want to see... Well, I mean, like... Yeah, you see a lot of Alex Ross influences now than you did before. So...
Most
we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Let us know in the comments down below, what's your favorite bat suit from the films? No judgment zone. So feel free, whatever bat incarnation, and hell, we'll go from movies to TV. So not including Batman the Animated Series, because obviously perfect. But like everything else,
naturally
fair game. Pick your favorite bat suit. Let us know in the comments. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching this episode. Thanks for giving us another shot to do it all over again. And we will see you guys next time with an all new episode. Don't forget to stay here for more. There is so much going on here on Comic Pop, and I'm like very, very proud of all of it. If you are interested in like more, there is also some gaming going on twitch.tv/ComicPopTV right now. So if you go over there, twitch.tv/ComicPopTV, you can watch Tiffany from this channel play video games and hang out with you. So that's all I got, man. We'll see you guys next time. And hey, you want more of this conversation or something totally different? Go to patreon.com/ComicPop. Joel and I are going to talk some more. Not about Batman, but we're going to talk some more. So,
and I mean, it'll probably end up being about Batman too. Our conversations tend to either go back to The Simpsons or Batman.
That's true.